we always had a ton of respect for South Carolina. The year before, in 2009, the national championship year, they gave us a lot of fits. They played at our place, and we didn't play great by any stretch. We ran the ball really well. We had a couple early turnovers and just never really got into much of a rhythm offensively. That was a really talented South Carolina team. I know you really think back to it though, Alshon and obviously Stephon Gilmore, um, just Lattimore. I mean, just a really, really talented group of guys. So I always had a tremendous run, and I love Coach Spurrier. I mean, I grew up, my mom went to Florida State, so I grew up, on the other side of that rivalry. My uncle, ironically enough, went to Florida. So grew up kind of not necessarily loathing, but also at the same time, like having an unbelievable amount of respect for what Spurrier had built in the 90s. So to see him back on the sideline, he was like one of those guys where it's like, man, that's super cool. I can't believe I get to play in front of Steve Spurrier today. I had that same feeling with only a few other guys where it's like, man, I just can't wait to see that face on the other side of the sideline. Spurrier was one, Bobby Bowden was one, Frank Beamer was one, Urban Meyer, in a slightly lesser extent was one, but he was kind of coming of age, like as I was coming up. And I already mentioned the animosity at that point. So it wasn't quite the same with him. Joe Paterno, we played them my senior year. At that time, Joe Paterno, I thought he was just a god amongst mortals with the type of program that he had built. Obviously that was before everything that went down after the fact, but there were always a few coaches that you always kind of went and looked at on the side, like, man, it's just so cool. Like, I grew up watching that guy. Like, that's so awesome. Needless to say, I got Saban on our sideline. It's like, oh, I don't care about him. It's like,
Yeah. Well, it takes a little
um,
pressure off.